All right, what is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders and closet swing traders? Hoping you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Market looks like we're gapping up a little bit. Let's do a quick screen share as you guys are piling into the room. And move this screen over here, be easier. And you share BEA, beautiful. All right, team. We got Jenny from Australia's in the house. Good morning. Good morning to you, or good afternoon, or lunch, or if you're going to sleep now, one of those. But good to you, I guess, is the way to put it. What is up, Flo? We got Joe coming on in. Brian's in the house. Jay, Bill, Anya's in the house. All right, awesome. We got Richard in YouTube. Oof, you guys are ready to go today. You guys are ready. All right, so let's start with the SPY. We'll take a look, see what happens overnight. If anything, obviously we did have a pretty meaningless day. Honestly, yesterday, pretty meaningless day, all in all. But we'll see if any of the meaninglessness actually matters, right? So when I say that, basically we opened and closed roughly at the same price. We obviously had the Fed notes come out yesterday at 2 p.m. and market it reacted. It went bullish. Out of probably the last few months of the Fed releasing notes, this was the smallest volatility move that we've had so far, right? And then by the end of the whole show and song and dance, we just ended pretty much right where we opened. So this, if I flip this over to a daily, we're probably looking at some kind of a indecision high wave. Still close a little bit more positive than we opened, right? So we're up a little bit. So we have a little bit of bullish sentiment still in this candle, but realistically, overall, the gap down is still a pretty bearish gap, and we just did nothing yesterday. So I'd be curious to see if today we actually get some kind of follow-through movement. We are gapping up in the SPY itself. Right now on the hourly chart, we are still below the 10 EMA. So that's going to probably hinder some of the bullishness in there in the market. We did come in for a retest of this VPOC, so somewhere in the 429 zone. Actually, we got a little bit higher than that, 429.50. Did not quite retest up here completely, but it did get pretty close. So close enough to count that. Otherwise, yeah, yesterday we still did a VPOC lower. Today we're gapping slightly above that one still. So I imagine it being very, very slow at the open. I don't see us running one way or not. I still think that bearish is the direction that we want to lean for right now. So I still think we would just have to break through this level somewhere in the 426.54. But we're gonna have a tight. I think we can have a tight trading range for and wherever this 10 EMA is, 427. So about $1 move before we decide which way we're gonna go. We do have where'd the volume come in? So obviously we had some volume at open. We lost the second hour a lot. We do have a little bit of a bear trap yesterday, thinking we were going down. I think we were playing Tesla as well during this time, and I was like, all right, let's get out as soon as possible. This is still holding, which the second trade turned out to be a good decision because it just would have stopped us out if we didn't move stops or anything like that. So we made back half an hour on that one. Otherwise, yeah, on this retest, a little bit of a bull trap as well. So again, I just think we're kind of pinned right now. Until we see something different, it might be a slower day, I would think. Let's do the Qs. We got Brian, good morning. We got Lori in YouTube land. What is happening? Qs, again, we're not exactly on a new trend yet, right? So here's how VPOC trends. We're bullish this entire way. Every single day, we're getting new, higher VPOCs. Yesterday was the first close on the Qs that, again, it opened up pretty weak, below 3 other prior VPOCs. But the importance of this one is where this one closed. This one did close still below the three different levels of VPOCs. Looks very similar to the SPYs. Right now, again, below the 10 EMA on an hourly chart. So I don't think we're going to just rip bullish on anything. And we have a little bit of support. I think this could break on the Qs. I think it could break on the SPY too. Just we have to come back for some kind of retest, even if it's not a big one, right? So even if we don't have the big recession that everyone's saying that we are, and maybe we still do, maybe we don't. I wish I knew that answer for sure. Unfortunately, I don't. This is only a retest of the 38% retracement, which means to me, I think if this thing does come down, which again, I'm still kind of leaning a little bit more bearish. It might take a minute for some of those positions to some of the bulls to finally give up, sell, and then I think we pull back. Worst case, the 50% retracement is somewhere in the 324.98 zone. So if we do start breaking down today, that would be my probably initial target. We're going to get caught up and have a little bit of, this was a previous VPOC. This was already retested. And then, of course, we have a VPOC right at that 50%. So this is going to be our strong hold today if we do start to really sell. But again, we were gapping up, and I think at least in the morning until we get noticed one way or the other, I think we're going to have a little bit more chop than not. Which says for all you future traders, I will be taking QG short, enter at 960 stop at 10. One contract, it would be $1,000 risk, target 7.5, which has already got his trade set up. He's ready to go. Whew. Drank some Gatorade today. Man, he's feeling it. All right. So there's a trade out there if anybody wants to follow the Woodshed lead. Follow him into battle. Tesla. So Tesla's gapping up. But where this gap is, so anytime you see these type of breakdowns, let me do a quick little line. Anytime you have those pivots, I'm kind of like pivot here, and then anytime something comes up for a retest, a lot of times it retests into that bottom of that bullish candle, right? That's where any of these bulls want to try to escape. I mean, they would love to escape at the price they purchased that, but a small loss is better than a big loss, right? So a lot of times that's where we'll run into some kind of a retest on any type of those patterns. I would probably see it over here as well. Let me delete this. Dave is about to follow Woodshed down the path. Okay. So here's our kind of breakdown candles, right? The bull candles. This retest got a little bit higher, but pretty much right into there, rejected. So right where we're opening on Tesla is probably going to be a little bit of resistance. I would assume, could we go a little bit higher and fade, of course. With Tesla, though, we are, if we do open here, as of right now, at least, we're technically above the hourly 10 EMA. So I could give a little extra points in a bullish direction on Tesla for that. Otherwise, I don't know. I think we're still a little bit weak. We actually have, as opposed to the Qs and the SPY, our VPOCs that have been closed are still stair-stepping down. So to me, it would make sense. And maybe this is our bullish push. This was the retest that we do this. We have the split coming up soon on Tesla as well. Who knows? I mean, last time we got a split, Tesla went wild. So who knows? But it's still choppy. We're inside yesterday's day. I would say that at least for right now, this is a good retest spot. Also, we have this VPOC here. So that's two levels that I think could get just a big sell point on Tesla. We'll see. And then this one technically already did retest. So if we do come down here, I think this level is now a lot easier to breach. I think we can break through that. And then Tesla, even this one got retested yesterday, and this one never did, right? So I think we at least, if we start breaking, we're coming down into the, let me see what price this is, somewhere in the 897.61. We were looking for that yesterday, and we fell short by that psychological whole number of 900. But nothing too crazy yet on Tesla. It's still inside day, so if we are playing 10 EMA, I'm not going to get too much Too much activity out of the gate on that one. NVIDIA. Same. Everything looks identical right now. Everything is exactly the same. Again, below the 10 EMA on an hourly chart. This is not a trend yet. This still technically could be a pullback, just like the SPY Qs. Just because we only have one level down, I think I need one more level to really say, okay, we're starting to push some type of a trend in a bearish direction. So this could be a pullback, and I think that also helps with the explanation of us not doing anything, because is it a pullback, or do we start to actually start falling off a cliff a little bit? Obviously, we did break a huge support level, right? So we're kind of holding that uptrend for a long time. We broke it here. I guess that was kind of the retest into it. And I think we do have the possibility. I'd still want to lean a little bit more bearish than bullish. And this one is under the 10 EMA as well. Technically, if you guys want to play an hourly 10 EMA, this candle would be it here. So anything breaking down of 182.17 and then stop of 185.84. You can do it as a swing trade or day trade. I don't know how fast this thing falls, but I'd be comfortable with either. And then again, the issue here, this one's been tested already. This one has not. And we're looking at 180.66. That's going to be a big zone for the bulls to attempt to hold, just because if we break that, there's not a lot really holding us until maybe 174. So it's a big move down. So we're probably going to run into a ton of resistance. Let's see, AMD, but NVIDIA looks exactly the same, just inside day, just resting a little bit after a relatively decent gap down. Amazon, exactly the same. So Amazon just below that 10 EMA, inside day, not going to get a chance for 10 EMA out of the gate on this one. And we have some kind of support, at least for now, 142.14, 10 EMA, 142.60, and 142.94 is the next higher VPOC. So 2 levels of resistance above us. Actually, look at AMD now. As promised before, inside day again, below the 10 EMA. Still, this one does have a little bit of a trend down, right? So now this is our second one down, and this would be minimum. I think if this sells, 97.31 would be target. See if we could breach that one. Look for a level of like 95.63. But again, we might just be in a little bit of a rest period for sure. Delta. Delta to me looks, I would say, out of all of them, even though it's a little bit same, this clear breach of that, this all could be a retest. I would almost say if this thing breaks 31.41, and then what I'll do is I'll put we might be able to get a trade out on this one. No, we can't. Not a 10 EMA. I'll still set the alert. It's not going to be a 10 EMA because we're still inside day on this one. Add alert. Create. So if this thing ends up dropping below that VPOC, I would say this is a decent. I think this kind of shows our hand a little bit for institutions. This is all just a retest. And if we do start to break again, we might be able to get into like a 33.91 target, something in that zone. Which ones did we not cover so far? I think we got all 6. Let's go Apple. The strongest stock in the entire world. Apple just still beast moding. Nothing about this says, nothing about it yet says it's going to collapse. For today, though, if we open here, we are technically opening under a VPOC. This would be, I don't know if it's the first time we've opened under a VPOC. I think we've probably done it before. Apple has been super strong, but underneath this VPOC, if we open here, okay, we should still have now some kind of resistance at 173.96. I would have a stop at 174.86. But then we also are, this is probably one of the first times, maybe not the first time, but we're also below the 10 EMA. So could we start to finally correct here? Maybe. Apple's a tough one to short. Jason says I tightened my trailing stop on Apple, position to 171. Let's see. Yeah, if you get stopped at 171, I mean, I could also see this out. This blue line is a longer term trend too, longer term downtrend. So we broke out of it, but we never actually retested. So I could actually see something like this happen. I would say you don't want to get stopped out. You're at 171. I would almost go higher. Start taking some profits. You're in this thing bullish, right? Yeah. I wouldn't want to really see this breakdown here. I would just lock profits because again, even if you take out 171, you have 170, so it's about $1 down to the downside before you might get some kind of potential bounce. So, but we'll see. I mean, there is no VPOX yet. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll take the 10 EMA. So right now I'm on the hourly. We'll give it some levels. This level right here, we got 2 days of VPOC. This should be a strong level, somewhere at that 173. So you should see something today, 173, get some kind of a bounce, I would think. But then the last candles that really interact with the 10 EMA, which again, this is on the hourly chart, is this one. So I think if this candle breaks, then we might as well wait for at least a 170. If not, maybe we dip down, retest somewhere down there. But yeah, I don't want to see it break this level. That would be a huge one for. All right, awesome. So those are the 6. Again, not a lot we could trade today out of the gate with the 10 EMA strategy. Doesn't mean we can't trade. If you guys have any other tickers, symbols, comments, you guys can throw those in. Sydney W would like to see PayPal. Can we look at it? We can look at triple BY for sure. The rest of the apes are, so we might as well, join the party. We the 6 stocks we're trading, then we're probably gonna have to sit on our hands anyway. This one looks good for a short. PayPal to the short side. Initial target on this one. So again, I just don't know. I don't know how far this thing's going to go. I would kind of want to be out of this thing in 98.19. But it does look very, very different than the entire rest of the market, at least anything that we've looked at so far. We are actually gapping below this little bit of a hammer. Maybe even design some kind of trade for 99.06. And again, I try to be out by like 98.19 or at least minimum taking partials. That does look like a very weak gap. Do they have earnings or something? No earnings. Yeah, short as high as you could. I think you're probably going to find some resistance in the bullish direction at this 99.04 zone. Could we? Well, there's the break. This is all the retest. This is what I imagine. By the way, this is a good picture. So this is what I imagine on a lot of the stocks happen. Right on the bearish direction. We're still on every stock we looked at. We're still above the VPOC from yesterday. But as soon as we start to break, I think the downside is the play because we did break a huge bullish trend, major gap down. We're starting to really weaken a little bit in the market. We only have 1 so far, VPOC. Today would be 2 as long as we don't run absolutely bullish and then we have a new trend established, right? And then we want to just try to follow that trend all the way down as long as we humanly possibly can. But yeah, my first target for day trade wise would be 98.19. If that breaks, the next target would be somewhere in the 97.03 zone. So I don't know how the risk to reward is. It depends on your trade. You almost probably want to do a 50-cent stop on this thing. However you design it. So the higher this thing goes, the better. And then the wider you can make your stop for these numbers to work. Kelvin says, what is the significance of VPOC? No matter what anybody tells you about how great every indicator is, how great every EMA is, all of that is based on, let's boil it down to this. Nobody knows anything about the market. I know nothing about the market. Nobody in this chat, Jim Cramer has 0 idea about the market. Nobody has any idea where these things could go to in the bullish side or bearish side. Anytime you see a prediction, it's garbage. It's garbage. that has no influence on anything. The only thing that has influence in a stock market is people's dollars, right? So any ideas that they have, if they go, man, PayPal is the worst company in the world, I want to short this thing, they could say it, but until they actually start putting their own money in to short this thing and taking the risk themselves, that's where the importance comes in, right? So that's when people are in it and they start winning, and now they're getting emotional because they're positive and they feel great about themselves, or they start losing and now they feel horrible about themselves. And again, the emotion is tied to the money. The VPOC is the highest volume of that previous day. So that's where the most amount of people actually put their money to work and stop just talking about the stock market. It goes, here's my theory because of XYZ. I think this is the price I want to either short or go long. And now what happens is, because that's the highest volume that people are actually putting their money to work, that's also going to be now the heaviest protected area as well, right? So if you have a lot of people over here on whatever day this was, 2 days ago, or whatever day, 2 days ago, I guess, they're all taking positions, either short or long, who knows, but that's the highest volume coming in. But the very next day, there's a lot of volume much lower on the stock, right? So that means, to me, at one point, if you were bullish, you're valuing this thing, this is going to the moon. Now you're starting to really get people reassessing the stock and going, no, I think this is more of a fair price. Let's get our interactions in here at the zone. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that your sentiment has dropped from one level to another. People were thinking right around here's the time to interact and put your money on to work. Down here is a much more interesting place to do it, right? So what does that mean? That means it's just a weaker sentiment, right? People are now thinking this thing is less valuable than it was the day before, right? And here, same thing. So people were like, oh yeah, no, this is the zone. Now it goes up. Great. People are valuing the stock higher because this is where more of that transactions happen. Now you have one more push higher than the day before. That means you're still bullish. People are still saying, okay, yeah, no, this thing could definitely keep moving, and we're breaking out of that. Even as you see where you kind of retested into, that's that zone. We broke down, we pushed right back up into it, because again, this is telling us it's more bullish. People are more willing to have transactions higher on that move, so therefore it's more bullish. Let's take a look. Let's go down the devil's alley here. Let's take a look at Bed Bath Beyond. Those 20% off coupons are working. They're working very well for them. So good business model. If you want to attract customers, just discount everything 20%. All right. So, I mean, honestly, who knows? There was a rumor. I don't know if it's confirmed on Bed Bath Beyond or not, but there was a rumor circulating that they were going to sell. Bed Bath Beyond was selling like 9 million shares of their company, somewhere in this range, like $27 range. So that would be about $27 million that Bed Bath Beyond would have to use and try to survive and print those 20% off coupons, I guess. I don't know if that was real or not. So somebody has zero hedge, but that was pretty much the turning point yesterday in the markets. Again, this gap on Bed Bath Beyond is actually a very, very weak one. So you have good support resistance up there. We're now gapping below two of those points where people, I'm not even going to call them investors, but people thought that the price action was more interesting. And now we're starting to lose some of that momentum. So I don't know. Again, the meme stocks, they play in a different game. They play a different sport. They don't even play the same game. Tell Jeremy about that strategy. Which one's that one? Which one? Let me just see. So this one's the real story. 20-year-old student acquires 6% of Bed Bath Beyond. We have what's his last name? It's Justin Williams, right? He's 15 in real life trading. Yeah, Justin. Man, this guy. Look at you, man. Look at the steps. This guy at 20, he owns 6% of Bed Bath Beyond, and he's making he made $110 million. You're 15. You got 5 years ahead of this guy. Just saying. Just saying. You know. Yeah. All right. But yeah, I think a lot of the move, I think at least for now, is over. If the rumor is true that they're selling, again, you're taking a lot of money out of the actual stock, and I think it starts to deflate a little bit. So I think that move in a bullish direction might be over. I think that the news was starting to circulate. I think it was around 2:30, 3 o'clock yesterday. So that's right around the time you start to see that big spike, the big drop. It moves to its own beat of its drum. I just don't think I'd want to be bullish on Bed Bath Beyond's personally. You guys want to take a look at Cisco? Justin says, I'm bear on it now. I marked it for below 22.40 for the downside. Was it gapping below there? Let me go back real quick. BBBY. It went below in the after hours pre-market. Got you. Yeah, probably this 19. Yeah, so we're below that point now, but you're probably gonna don't chase it. Like don't just this one. I would just wait for your price if that's your price. But I'd be looking for 1953. I think is going to act as some type of resistance. But could we come up and retest right into that candle, which is probably where you're putting your entry. So yeah, leave it there. If you get filled, great. If not, I don't think there's a need. I don't think there's a need for you to chase it. You see that 20 years that made 100 million, the 20-year-old that made 100 million. No, who's that? We're wasting it. Oh, and then no, we're so wasting our time. Let me know when the next meme stock is. I'm just gonna go all in. I'll see you guys at the beach. Apparently, that's the way to really invest in the market. Cisco kind of just flat right now on Cisco. I don't really see anything too crazy. Oh wait, hold on. That's not pre-market, is it? No, pre-market's all the way up there. I thought we were sitting in that zone. Never mind. We actually have a really nice gap. I'm gonna push this over to a daily chart. Was this earnings? Looks like they beat on earnings. We're probably at a slight little bit of resistance on Cisco. At open, I'd probably wait for the first green candle to come in and look for a short. As long as that candle, as long as you're not shorting above $50, because then I think the next resistance is $50.83. I think this is something that could fade. We're probably going to run into a little bit of issues at 49.15, and then if that breaks, we'll see a much bigger pullback. But for right now, that is a decent looking gap, trapping a whole bunch of people. It's definitely a good trap gap, but into a little bit of resistance right now. So wait and see. For right now, I think with this little bit of a run up, there's people that have to be profitable in this thing. We're not clearing. Like if this thing was a little bit higher, I'd say I might have a chance to push another few dollars. But if a green candle comes in and closes at the open on the 3 or 5, I would look for a short. See if you can play that as long as your short is still below $50. Sava. SAVA. We only got like a minute left. No. All right. So Salva opened up $30 above 2 gaps. Right now, it does look a little bit more bullish than bearish. Now that where it actually opens, I thought it was opening up here. It's gonna have resistance somewhere at that $30.82. This is probably more of a fade as well, but we will see. All my friends on YouTube, unfortunately, this is the time I got to let you guys go, but I do appreciate you joining us each and every morning. You guys are able to hang out, trade with us all day long. Just go to reallifetrading.com if you want. You can even put a www in front. It's not mandatory anymore. When did that stop? But go to the website. You guys can check it out. Also, if you don't want to trade with us, you just like hanging out in the morning. Either way, hit the like or subscribe button on YouTube. And regardless, we're still all fam. So just we have free education online on the Real Life Trading website. You guys are